Hello, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway podcast. I'm your host, Deanna.
And I'm Megan. Thanks so much for joining us today, all you wonderful crafty mavens. We are on episode 8.
Nine. Sorry.
9. Sorry. We just had this conversation too.
I
Oh,
know.
that's funny. Of course, I
It's
went
okay.
to
We're just
episode
always
8.
going to get the episodes wrong. Like why we label the episodes, but it
It's
does help
fine.
like when we're posting it so people know like, oh, did they miss an episode? Even though we have the long lost
Right.
episode. So people just be aware that maybe we'll release that as like special content for people if they're interested in that.
Yeah.
Well, or I could put it in the premium subscription because we're doing a
Ooh,
premium
that would be a good,
now.
yeah, that'd be a
Kind
good
of
idea.
um we're arranging things a little different now that we're on
Yeah.
the new year because the Crafty Maven is one
Yes.
now. So the
I
store,
know, that's
not
crazy.
the actual Crafty Maven. But anyway, today we thought we would continue our conversation about talking about content, scrappy content creation and being like a scrappy YouTuber or jumping into that. Um, it seems to be in our industry right now in community, we're all interested in talking about our industry. So I think that if
Yeah.
we can keep on talking about this kind of stuff, we'll kind of hit both sides. I'm just going to do a little shout out. Nicole and Lisa, they have Hear Me Out, those scrapbooking podcasts. It's super, super fun to listen to them. They actually both were on the Crafty Maven back years ago. And
Yeah.
so they have a podcast now. And theirs has been on a little bit. I'm trying to remember when they started. They
Yeah.
maybe in the summer, something like that, I want to say. So anyway, so they've been doing their podcast. They just came back after taking a small break. And so they're in their season 2. And they're talking about their first episode. They talked a lot about the industry and like kind of their perspective on things. I don't know if they're going to keep on doing that. So I'll put a link below because they talk about design teams. And I thought they gave a different perspective on some stuff that because of the teams that they're both on. I know Nicole is on quite a few bigger teams this year. And she's in a season and I love it. I love like seeing where everybody has went from and came to. So I feel like this is like us doing this podcast and them doing theirs and kind of having these different perspectives is really helpful for people because like we're on different types of teams or we're on different types of teams. I haven't been on teams in a while. And like
Yeah.
even just working with our team this year, I feel like I'm learning a lot because it's a lot different running this team as opposed to running the old team because that was just a collaborative thing. So it was very easy and minimal as far as like what was required of people. And so every like their big thing is every team does things differently. So really so anyway, it really kind of piggybacked off of what we were talking about with design team stuff. And I think we mirrored a lot of the same types of like sentiments,
Yeah.
not sediments, like the ground. I think I need to keep drinking my coffee. Anyway, but so today we're going to talk more about like the editing and like software stuff that we use. I know we talked a little bit about like filming and stuff. So if you haven't listened to that podcast and you're interested in starting a scrappy YouTube channel, also, I think one thing I want to disclaimer and remind people, one, we've been on YouTube for a very long time in the scrappy YouTube world. I know we kind of talked about our channels and like starting our channels last time, but just because we've been around for a long time doesn't mean that we know everything. And also we've taken all these years to learn what we've learned on how we do things. So if you don't do it like us, that's cool. And that's why I love our conversations. And I'm really hoping in the comments, people have these conversations as well, or in our group so that like we can figure out, because it's not a one size fits all. It's everybody does things a little bit different, and you got to figure out what works for you. And I know we kind of said that last week, but I really want to mention that again this week. And there goes some boxes. And so I would just want to remind people that like even though we're quote unquote experts, we're really not. Like, we just have the way that we do it, and it works for us. And I know I'm finding this year has been a really big year, or this past whole year has been a really big year for me, learning like, how do I change things up to fit my life now, because things are a little bit different, and I want to make things easier on certain ends. Because one of the things that becoming a scrap, like, it's one thing to say, have these aspirations that, oh, I want to be a scrappy YouTuber, a scrappy content creator, I want to share my process. But it's like, when you really start doing it, you figure out like exactly, one, how much it takes, so much time. And Nicole and Lisa were talking about this, and that's a great, like, this is a great place to put that, is, you know, you spend so much more time doing all of the other stuff with be ready to share your projects than you actually ever do at your desk. And I know we've talked a lot about this kind of this year, about procrastination, perfectionism, all these different elements that really tie into, we're not getting enough time at our desk. So the sharing part gets a lot harder. And so that's something to remember, is that there's going to be seasons in your life, in your scrapbooking, where if you really want to be a YouTuber, scrappy content creator, share, you know, it doesn't, you need to have it fit how your life is. So if you want to start a channel, but your life is chaotic, do it on a small scale, you know, have reasonable expectations, because I feel like sometimes, and we've both done this, it's the new year, you're so excited about all the things that you can share and do, and we've been doing this for so long, and there's still times where it's like, I just cannot do what I said I was gonna do, because I have all the, and that's the thing I'm learning with my business, is that has to come first. And so, like, there's this transition of where you are, you love something so much, you want to share it and make it a business, but then it kind of becomes less of like your place of comfort and home, because you're doing things that you're not comfortable with. You're doing things that are now expected of you, as opposed to that I want to do it and share it. And so there's this balance that you have to find, and you have to figure out. One of the ladies was asking, I think it was Michelle, she was asking, like, how many teams were you on at one time? Because we were talking about the teams a couple of weeks ago, the video that posted, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I got thinking about it, and I was like, dang, I was on like 7 teams at one point or something. I don't know, because I was on Click Hits, I was on Click Hits, Spiegel Mom Scraps, Shimmers, all at the same time. The Crafty Maven Getaway, I was on Get It Scrapped, that was all at the same time. Okay, maybe not 7, like 5 or 6 at one point.
Yeah, because I was trying to think, because I was on Get It Scrapped, I was on Spiegel Mom Scraps, I was on, well, and I was on a sketch design team too. And then I feel like there was one more that I was on.
You were on the Crafty Maven. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, the Crafty Maven. Yeah.
So there was a lot of teams at one point. And so you have to sit down and really say, and this is where planning, like, so, and I say this, like, this is where planning and like really making sure that you are realistic in your own goals and what you can produce, right? Because when you are a content creator for these teams, or just to share, I mean, I guess we're just talking about sharing, the workload becomes way more, because you want to have what you're sharing, you want to be quality, right? And so it takes time to figure out how that quality works for you, but it also just takes time doing all that behind the scenes stuff, right? And so, and then it becomes more if you add teams onto that. But But if a lot of times that's the goal for many of us, right? Is to go from sharing. So I just want to let people know it is so possible, and use all that like gusto that you have, because that's what gets you through the really hard beginning parts. Like it really does. And there's
Right.
nothing like sharing. So that I do not want people to like shy away from it just because it's a lot of work. It's just be realistic and know it's going to take a little while to get there. It's going to take a little while, and it grows in stages. It's not like boom, you start sharing and next thing you know, you have 500 or 1,000 subscribers and everybody's counting on you to share your stuff at all these times. Like it's not like that generally.
Yeah.
Not in the content creation that we provide for people in this niche. Now, if you're just doing a blanket like craft type of channel, that might blow up a lot faster. So, and I'm gonna like preface, I did a video last year right before right in the early summer, maybe, before I went to the wedding, and I just talked about Joann's like closing, because Joann's had just closed, and Michael's had bought their intellectual property. So I thought, hey, I wanted to talk about that, and I would love to actually talk about this on the podcast and talk about some of the other stuff. So I'm thinking about how we can do that too, because I think these are topics that everybody wants to talk about. But anyway, and that video blew up. I got like 8,000 views on it in like the week, or like whatever, that first small amount of time. I had so many comments on it. So many I couldn't even respond anymore. Like I was responding like the first few days, and then after that it was just like there's like 50 or 60 comments on there. Like a lot. And I was like, holy cannoli. Well, I could post this. So this is the thing. So like when you're thinking about how you want to share content in a scrappy form or crafty form, like really sit down and go, what is my goals for this? Because I feel like that does help. Because if you're just going based off of you want to get, and I'm just going to put this out there, if you think that you are just going to hit the views, that's probably not going to happen. There's a lot of work that we all have to do to share. And so it goes in stages, which is really nice because you're able to kind of like feel out how things go, where are you going to share your content? And we're still learning this. Like the places that I used to share things, I'm not sharing them anymore. Like, so that like kind of changes like certain places, like on Facebook, I should say. Like there's always Instagram, there's always, there's YouTube, but like how are you connecting with people? Because YouTube is just like a vessel, if you will, like to get to like put and collect everything, as opposed to like Facebook. This is where it's gonna show people. Instagram is gonna point people to that place. Even TikTok, I feel like that might be a little bit more of a vessel area, depending on like what you're sharing and all that kind of stuff. So just know that like depending where you're sharing is going to depend on the types of views, who you're connecting with. And you're probably going to have to do some multiple places. But I know we talked about this last time. Like just pick a couple. Just pick a couple. Like you don't have to go crazy at the beginning, because it's a lot of work to like do that. That's partly why we needed a team for the Crafty Maven, is that I could not do it all. I couldn't share everything and make stuff to inspire people to buy the kits. It's like, so it really does take, like, it takes time, and that time is so where are you coming up with this time? So just having a good plan but okay, so let's talk about editing and stuff. Now that I just rambled on and on. Okay. How did you figure out, because I know we kind of were talking about this a little bit last time, but how did you figure out how you wanted to edit your stuff? Like, where did you find this information?
Well, so my ex was a big part of that, just because he was kind of like, he was a graphic designer. That was his job. And he did a lot of IT stuff too, and a lot of stuff with computers. And so he knew a lot more than I did about video editing and stuff like that. So I think I mentioned that in our last podcast too, is he's the one that, bought the software that I use, and I've just stuck with it. And like I have upgraded it, the software that I use, but that being said, um, because I don't use like one of the basic ones, I've noticed that if I try to use a basic software now, it like makes it so much harder because I'm
Hmm.
so used to my paid software and all of the
Yeah.
things that I do with that, that going to like a free version is really, really frustrating for me. And I'm not very technological, like I'm not very good at learning things. I'm not very patient. And so it's like I've just kind of stuck with my software and then I've upgraded it a few times. Like I think the last one that I bought, I think I bought it not last year. I think it was in 2024.
I
I
was gonna say,
bought
I think
like,
I remember it was 2 or 3 years ago, maybe.
yeah,
It was.
yeah. It was when I lived in the apartment because I had lost something happened with my computer. And so I had
Yeah.
lost
Didn't you have to
everything.
get a new computer? Is that when you got a new computer
Yeah,
too? Because
yeah,
you ended up
yeah.
having to get a new one.
Yeah, I had to get a new one and I decided to get a laptop so that it could be
Mhm.
portable. And so I got a
Yeah.
new laptop and then I had to pay for the software. And I think I got it on Amazon and I think it was a lot cheaper because I bought an older version. Excuse
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
But and I want to say it was like $60 or something like that. But I have
Mm.
the 2017 version of the software that I use, and we'll include all the links below to everything that we use. Just so if you guys are curious, you can see what we
And I guess this is a good place to say, I know you have affiliate links, so all the stuff that you
yes,
bought on Amazon. So just be aware that I just feel like we have to say
yes.
that just because normally we're only semi-affiliated because it's from the Crafty Maven, but we really don't like I try not to over like shove stuff in people's faces product because I want this is something we do for fun for free. And
Yeah, right.
so I don't want to like it's not about selling people stuff, but I do want people to know that I know you have an Amazon affiliate. Actually, we're looking
I
into
do.
the craft and getting an Amazon affiliate. And we'll talk about
Yep.
maybe affiliates and stuff like that later because that's a little bit different and then it's a funner way that maybe you can get some extra there because there's a few companies in the scrapbooking world
Mhm.
that I feel like affiliate type stuff too. So but anyway,
Yes.
just so people's aware that some of the links in the comments below will be affiliated. So if you
Yep.
want to help
Yep.
support Megan out, use her links
Yeah.
because it really does help.
Appreciate that.
I will say, like, all this stuff is a totality thing when you're sharing. And so, you find little ways that you can help yourself out because it is a lot of work. And I think the
It
passion
is.
has to be there for it. So, and that goes along with that. Like, when you don't know a lot of information as far as
Right.
technological goes, I am definitely not. And like I feel like I know a lot, but like it's all jumble mumbled in there. And so like and say that like so in my non-crafty job, I help out with a nonprofit and I was helping with the behind the scenes stuff. And they have a whole different platform for blog or like website stuff. I say blog, it's really a website, but she's trying
Yeah.
to turn it into a blog, which anyway, that's all besides the point. But she wanted to like really ramp up, and I'm like, I don't know this platform. I don't, well, it's like Wix, but Vistaprint. So it's like even more. And I kept telling her, I was like, dude, we need to get off of the Vistaprint Wix because they charge 3 times as much for your website as if you paid for it through just Wix or through some other platform. And we can talk about that kind of stuff later too. And maybe the next episode we can talk about like other things that you might want to have alongside with your business or scrappy content creation stuff. But anyway, but all of this like you have to really love to share. I will say that. And sometimes you don't know if you're going to love it or not, because
Yeah.
it takes so long to learn how to use the editing software and to try out. And you can have a lot of expertise or none. Like, I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, any editing stuff. Like, I know we sort of talked a little bit about that before, but I didn't know how to do anything when I
Right.
started. So
Yeah.
and I think it shows. Like, my earlier videos probably, you know, they're
Yeah.
basic and they look how they look, because I just didn't understand. Oh, I can bump up the white balance, and I can actually do a lot of this stuff in the editing, because you can make the light better. You do have to be aware that you could blow it out. You could you like the color
Well,
saturation might be different. So you do
yeah.
have to be
And
aware of all that stuff.
a lot of it too, like depending on what software you use, you can find a lot of help online, which I feel
Yes.
like even when I started 10 years ago, there was a lot of stuff on YouTube, like, fixes for your software, like how to do this, how to
Mm.
teach you, like, well, and now I'll even turn to like the AI, like ChatGPT or
Cat
whatever AI you use,
Claude,
and
I've
I'll,
also been a little bit of
yeah, yeah,
for
and
the tech.
Gemini I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes I use Gemini
so
too.
yeah. So like there's a lot of information out there. So don't ever feel like if you get stuck, you're just done,
Yeah.
like yeah, it
Yeah.
can be fixed. And there's a lot of free things out there that can help you
Yeah.
fix whatever you get to.
So,
Because I kind of wonder if that's where a lot of people get stuck is like,
mhm.
oh, I'm not technologically savvy. I
Yeah,
don't know
you
how to
for
use
sure do not
software.
need to know a whole
Yeah,
lot, like, especially the really
definitely
basic
not.
stuff. Like, and I use
Yeah.
iMovie, and it's pretty basic. Now, I think, and I have to look into it before it's not available. I think they're trying to push Final Cut Pro, which is pretty similar to how I think iMovie works. I bet you they're like
Okay.
they're sister companies or something. My guess they're probably trying
Mm,
to merge them together. That's probably why they're trying to get people to switch over and make the switch. So and that's like my hesitation. I've just used iMovie basically this whole time, and that's what I
mm,
use. And it's super easy because I use Mac products. So on my phone, now that I film on my phone and I upload it, and I don't have things continuously upload. I upload it manually. So, which means I need to use my cord. I can airdrop some stuff, but that like you can only airdrop so much, because like videos don't airdrop well.
uh,
And also, you
okay.
have to know that like the pictures that you take with the iPhone are going to be a different format. So like these are things that are like, I feel like sometimes we easily can forget about these little things. Like iPhone takes HIIC, I don't know. It takes some other different kind of version that is not an
Yeah.
actual JPEG, but you can switch it to a JPEG, or you can switch it on your phone to take JPEGs. So, and like, so when I edit in a software on my phone for like my layouts, and I use a color
Yeah.
story to edit my photos, because I can do a lot of different things. It's closer to Adobe, but there's also some filters too that make it a little bit easier to, like, if there's certain things that I want to do, but I can adjust just the basic stuff too, which I know you can use the Apple, like, or whatever editing
Yeah.
software, your phone photos. Like, I'm honestly starting there is probably a good idea, because then you can
Mhm.
decide if you want to pay. I pay for the color app. I've used it for years and years now, and I really enjoy it. But and it's the cost isn't too bad, but I could, if you're starting off, use all free stuff,
Oh yeah.
because as you start building, then you can go, oh, you know, oh, now I want to add stuff. Because even like with the
Mhm.
business, like there's certain things that I've like slowly started adding as like things that I think I need for admin type stuff, because and there's still a lot of free stuff that we use, like we use for task managers and stuff, because like I'm not going to pay a ton of money for something that I'm not getting anything back from yet. Like, so you got to kind of weigh what you're going to pay for. So, and a lot of the color, like the apps, like Adobe, you can get Adobe um on your phone. There's Adobe Express now, so you can do like
Yeah.
simple editing, and I think that one's free. I think there's a basic Adobe that's free, but the rest of it is all subscription based. So just also be aware that some of these editing and some of these apps are subscription based, so you're paying per month to utilize it. So, and I guess this is another little transition-y area to say that some of like the smaller apps like CapCut and stuff, and I'm not sure exactly how it works, so only just take it as in you need to research this yourself. But like CapCut, in their bylaws or what policies or whatever, they can take your videos and use it for advertising purposes. So anything that you create in certain apps, even if you're paying for it or if it's free, they might have access to utilize your intellectual property. So anything that you create is intellectual property. Um, and so you have to decide whether that's okay or not. So I know CapCut does do that. I was talking to a couple other ladies who were bigger in the business, and they were saying that they don't use CapCut anymore because they changed that. But if you're just using it for minor, and it's like, I don't know, like for a lot of small time creators, like I don't really know if it's going to be that big of a deal. But if you're a bigger, like you're bigger up in the system or whatever, the community, you might not
The
want to do that.
industry.
Or if you're starting
Right.
if you're turning it into more business related. And that's the other thing, like even using Canva, you have to be careful because certain things you can't sell, or you're going to
Yeah.
get, like, I've heard this with book type stuff. So people like taking uh their templates and creating like books or like notebook type things, and it not
Oh.
being them not actually being able to sell it like on Amazon and stuff, because certain like companies like Amazon, like they're kind of picky about. So like these are things that are offshoots of content creating that you might want to create sketches. If you're using certain templates, you need to know what stuff can I legally like claim as me. So these are just like little things to look into as you're, because a lot of the free stuff, you have less room for that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So
Right.
at the beginning, it's probably not going to be a big deal, but if you continue to use it, um, so there's just
Yeah.
things to be aware of. It's like there's a lot of like those red letter things
Right.
that like, who wants to sit through and read all the yes, I accept, all the, it's like a buying a house, it's like when you start realizing all the stuff that's like
Yeah.
included that you're saying yes to. But anyway, so just play around because you can find tons of stuff. I know we talked about like there's the option of doing it on a desktop or laptop versus doing it on your phone or tablet. Like
Mhm.
those, there are tons of options for different things. I know Instagram now has like a edits app. That's what I've been using to do short-term, like short content, like shorts and
Oh,
reels and stuff. And it's pretty
I
easy. It's a
didn't
lot
even
like
know
CapCut.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot like CapCut. It's free. So just know, like,
Nice.
once again, I don't know like all the red letter stuff. So for all I know, that also you don't own your own stuff. Like, that's what I
Yeah.
feel some of the, but also be aware of. So, and this is also a thing, be aware of all the little ads. Like, I get tons of ads for like editing software that's like, oh,
Mhm.
Zeely, I think is one. There's a couple, there's different ones that they try to say, oh, if you use this, you're going to get so many views or whatever,
Mm.
because it's really just like short form content, like apps that help you organize it, and they have templates. So someone designed the templates and put them in there. So just be aware that some of those things are going to oversell you, like on being able to get your views out there. And so be aware of that, because they will charge you, and they will charge you a lot, and it's hard to get out of.
Mm.
Just try
Yeah.
it for free. So you just got to be aware of like all those little, like, some, like, honestly, a lot of like with the editing and then sharing is just like utilize your friend group, as far as in the community, you know, like, you know, the groups that share, that you're allowed to share in, you know, share the stuff after you do it, like all that kind of stuff. You know, it just takes time. It takes time to work up and figure out where you like to share and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what kind of stuff do you use for your voiceover? Because I know we're trying to wrap up since you're on your break.
Yes. So for my voiceovers, I use a mic, and again, it's a more expensive mic just because I've been doing this for a long time and everything. I used to just have, I think the first mic I ever got was like 20 or 30 bucks on Amazon or something, you know, just a very basic.
Well, now they
But the
have
mic,
like lapel mics that sound pretty good
yeah,
too.
they
My
do.
mom
I
uses those.
know. I've been thinking about getting one of those, but I do really like my mic too.
Yeah.
So I use I think it's called the HyperX. And
Okay.
it's like a gaming one. It's really popular in the gaming community.
Which,
And
so,
it
and
has
that's
a
the
pop
other,
filter on it.
yeah, I was gonna say that's something to think about, is like, just because we do scrapbooking things doesn't mean that we can't look at other communities that are
Oh, yeah.
also doing things. Like, what kind, like your favorite podcaster, what kind of mics are they using? Now, granted, they're probably going to be way more expensive, but those are
Yes.
goals to like reach up to. So I use a blue, like, oh my gosh, a Blue Snowball. It's looking a little bit wary for the she's an old thing. I've had this thing for a while now. I probably need to upgrade in the next year or so. I've just been putting it off. I think it was like 90 bucks, or I might have gotten it on, you might be able to get it on sale for like 70 bucks. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it's still a reasonable price. I like the sound of it. I've never really had too many people complain. I don't think I've had people complain about the sound. I don't use a pop filter. Maybe if I had a different one, but I don't keep it right up to my mouth.
Right.
And that helps. I'm also really loud, so I don't think we need to but like one day I would love to have one that I could just like hook over here and like move it, so
Yes, and move
I
it.
don't
Yeah.
have to, but like this one's pretty compact. And I can unplug it and put it somewhere. And now I'm like, oh, sorry, everyone. Probably hear all the noises now. Yeah, my thing says reducing noise. So that's a really good option, like something like that. I know the Blue makes a lot of mics, and so they have really a lot of nicer ones. I'm trying to think, there's a couple other brands of mics that are pretty good. I should have written it down because I knew we were talking about this too. Anyway, there's some other really nice ones. So just look around at and just their goals. So use something simpler. I think for a while I was just using like a headphone mic.
Yeah,
for a while
I remember that.
My ex, he had the gaming headphones with the mic. I used that at the beginning. That's what I used at the beginning, because that's what I had. And I think it helped that my ex was a gamer. So a computer gamer. He knew absolutely nothing about anything else. So I probably could tell him a lot more of how to do things. But but there's just something about learning it yourself, honestly. So that's what I use for my voiceovers. And then I also use, so I don't know, does your software like compress like how does your software compress? So this is a thing when you if you've never done videos, when you can upload from your software right to the platform. I'd never suggest this because it takes like 3 times as long, I feel like, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
So you want to upload it to your computer, phone, whatever. And then from there post to YouTube or wherever you're posting. I take the extra step and compress it more, especially longer videos. Like if it's a shorter video, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I usually don't have to, but when it's like, especially the podcast, I compress it because it goes so much faster in the upload. And I feel like the one software that I use, which was free, it's called Handbrake. It looks like a little like a pina colada cup thing drink. And a lot of other like streamers and stuff use this, so it's free. It's whatever it's called, where everybody has it, has access to it. But and it compresses your stuff. You can change like where you're like what kind of, if you want it like really HD 4K, like all the different things. If you're putting it like optimized for online views or phone and stuff, so you can change like some of the elements of it to kind of fit where you're going to post it. So I just do pretty generic because I know I'm going to post it online and on YouTube and stuff. So I do it more towards YouTube. But and so that does take a little bit of extra time. So because it does take a little while for all these things to upload to your computer before you upload it to YouTube. I want to say, how long does it take for your video once you get it edited and you're putting it on your computer and then to get it to YouTube? So what is your time frame? And then I guess we can kind of finish.
I mean, it really depends on a lot of different things, but I would say like to move it to my computer. Well, I mean, I use a webcam, so it's already on my computer, but like to put it in my software and then edit it and all of that, I would say maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I mean, again, it depends on how long the video is and how long it takes to get the voiceover done, because I feel like sometimes voiceovers go really quick, but then other times I have to like sit and like edit the voiceover itself, and like, so I would say, actually I'd probably say about 2 hours from like the start of bringing everything into my software and then editing the video and then doing the voiceover, and then I like to bring in photos and add the photos to the videos, and then uploading it onto YouTube. That usually takes like anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes depending on if I'm linking to other products or things or videos or whatever. So anywhere from like 2 hours to like 3, I would say, from beginning to end.
Yeah. Depending on how long my footage is. So if my footage is over like an hour or whatever, or hour and a half, it takes a little bit longer for it to upload. It's not too bad, but it does, like, I find that especially like if I have longer clips, I have to do them like 1 or 2 at a time. Otherwise it takes a lot longer. And my computer is like, you want to upload 6 videos that are an hour and a half a piece, you know? Like, what are you thinking? That's going to take a lot longer. So I usually try to do like 1 or 2 videos at a time. And I'll just like, if I know I did something and I'm going to use it, I'll just upload it into my photos and stuff. So, and then I edit it and stuff. And usually it doesn't take too long for me to edit because I've gotten it down pretty good. And I don't over edit my videos so because I've gotten to the place where I can just run it over and kind of get a general idea of like where there's long periods of time where I'm not doing stuff. So I'll like kind of do like that kind of editing, and I do that, and then I do my voiceover. So, and I think you do your voiceover and then you kind of edit, right? Is that how you do it?
Yeah,
so
usually,
example of there's different ways that you can do it. Like I edit my video and then I do the voiceover, because I know once if I did it the other way, it would just be so weird. It wouldn't work for me. That's like, it's just so much easier for me. But for you, that's how it works for you. And it, and you got that down. So, and it's like usually my videos, because I do a lot of mixed media, usually those videos are about 20 minutes. And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't care that it's longer.
Yeah. Right.
So that's the other thing is like, depending on how long you want your video, I only speed up my video 4 times at max. On my regular process videos, I don't like to do it any faster than that. I feel like it's too fast. But I think every editing program looks a little bit different depending on how fast it goes.
Yeah.
So, because I don't want to make people sick with my hands. But anyway, so and then I do the voiceover. So that is going to take 20 minutes, right? Because in my video, 20 minutes, I'm talking for 20 minutes. So and then it usually takes about 10 or so minutes for it to upload onto my computer. And then it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how long the video is, to compress. And then from there, I upload it. And usually that is usually about 10 or so minutes. Usually by the time I'm adding all the info in the description, and I'm adding tags and adding all that stuff. So that's another little tidbit for people to know that it's going to take a little while to do the description of your video. And there are ways that you can add some of this stuff to your description ahead of time. So it's just always there. So utilize that kind of stuff because it just streamline some of your stuff. Like you can always have it linked to all your social medias and all that kind of places that you want it to go. That stuff never usually changes too much. So I would say it probably takes about 2 to 3 hours all together. And I don't usually ever do it all in one chunk anymore. I used to do it a lot faster.
I used to as well.
But so now I've made sure that my internet subscription, you do want to pay attention to like on outgoing and incoming, because certain plans don't have really good outgoing. So if you're pay attention. And I've noticed this, like it takes longer here than it did in Hawaii. It must just be the way that the internet programs were, or like plans and stuff were. So like when I got here, it took a lot longer for things to upload. So it's just the plan. And I have the highest. So I pay a lot. So just know those are things that like you might have to upgrade your internet because you're consuming and uploading a lot more. And those plans are based off of like the data that is getting transferred. So like that stuff does matter.
Yeah.
So your area might have a better one and you might be able to get away with not changing things, but you might have to up it. So those are just little things that I think we sometimes forget about, like especially as you're doing stuff. Okay. So let's finish up because you got to get back to work. Do you have any last tips with this part? I mean, I know we could probably still talk a little bit about it next time, but we'll kind of start thinking. I don't know exactly where we're going next time, but it'll still be talking about content creation, maybe more of like the sharing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we could do
editing
that
type stuff.
Yeah, photo editing. Well, again, something that we didn't actually touch on is where do you get your music from? Because that's very important, I feel like.
I will say this matters a lot because YouTube, if you're uploading to YouTube, they like to copyright strike everything. And depending on the copyright strike, it will go against your channel and they can shut your channel down. So just be aware of that. YouTube so I get my music. I think I used to upload music from other places because there are some other places that are free, like Artist.io. You can use clips and put it in there, but they have their own watermark in it. So sometimes it'll say it in there. It'll say Artist.io. Like I tried that. And it's not too bad, but like sometimes it's kind of annoying for people who are listening. So just be aware of that because some people will like people get weird about music.
Oh, they do.
And just because you can use it on Instagram or somewhere else, a different platform, doesn't mean that you'll be able to use it on YouTube. I can guarantee YouTube is like super picky. They really like, which is not a bad thing. So I hope this comes across. It's not a bad thing. You want creators to get credit for the stuff that they are doing. Like these people take time to offer music. So there are definitely certain artists that, that use like certain videos. Like, so I know that that iMovie used to have their own music, and a lot of times that was royalty free and you could use it. So
Oh, okay.
the term that royalty free is what you want to use for your
Yeah.
videos. Usually it just, a lot of artists will just say, just have this link my music
Yeah.
and my credit into the description. So I just always have
Description.
that in mind.
Yeah.
It's just in there, so I don't have to worry about putting it each time. But I use YouTube now, and you go in and you can, I forget where it is. It's somewhere in the settings or something. You can
Yeah, it is.
music, and you have to put in free, and you have to look, because each artist has sometimes a different way that they want it listed, or if they want to get credit. Sometimes they'll say they don't care. I know YouTube has a program that you can pay for certain music on your channel, but it doesn't go on other people's channels. So like this is something to think about. Like if you're on design teams and your video goes on their channel, it could be copyright striked on theirs. Sometimes the copyright strike doesn't do anything for your video or like the channel. It doesn't go against your channel, except for, I believe that YouTube doesn't blast it out as far is what I'm thinking. I don't know a ton about how they. Does anybody really know how YouTube really decides how who gets credit? All I know is I've heard, and so my mom, she does YouTube. She does cooking videos. She's still a very small channel. I'll make sure I link her below. But she was telling me that like they send it to a smaller amount of your subscribers, and if those people hit it right away, then they'll send it out to more. So videos who get clicked first and quicker at the beginning are going to get more views. So think about that. Like, so this is why like time matters when you're posting. YouTube is a little bit harder. I feel like maybe I probably need to do more in looking of the analytics of YouTube and stuff. This is like probably even a whole episode that we could be doing. But this is why like Instagram will tell you like your best times to post and stuff. So this is why you do want to be posting at your best times majority of the time, because that's gonna, if people are clicking right away, that it's gonna get sent to more videos. This is why like you get links to videos that you've never even seen, because they were getting a lot of clicks right away, so they're just pumping it out to the masses. Now most YouTube videos don't, or Scrappy YouTube videos, I feel like probably aren't as big. It's probably why we all have smaller numbers a lot of the time, because people aren't, they're coming in at certain times. I think about like, I'm only watching videos like certain parts of the day, like when I'm cooking dinner. I'll pop in videos and I'll listen to that and watch and listen while I'm cooking dinner. It's like there's certain parts of the day where I'm not watching videos because I'm not doing anything. Like, especially if I work that day, I'm not watching while I'm at work. Right. But, so definitely be looking. Like, YouTube is a really good place to start and get your free music. It's pretty easy. You just have to look around and see what you like. It's like I picked a couple of different ones, and I'm like, okay, and you download it and then you upload it into your video. So okay. Well, that was a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
And YouTube music has gotten better, because I feel like when I first started, it was awful.
I always went off
so bad.
I forget where was I forget where I got my music from. There's
a couple.
You can look up royalty free sites. Just be aware that some of them really aren't as royalty free. So you you still have to look at like the rules, if you will, to how you use it. And like I said, sometimes they add watermarks, so it's like royalty free, but it's not really worth it.
It's not great. I know Ben's Sound was one.
That's one that I used to use.
I feel like there was another one that we used to use a lot too, but I don't remember because it's been a long time. Now I just use the YouTube music,
I feel like
it's a lot better.
It's the best place to start. There's a ton of different types of styles. So
Just
But and
listen
just
to a lot of it.
honestly, I would say pick the style that you like, and you know
Yeah.
what? Like people are going to find ways to complain and everything, and maybe one day one of the episodes we can talk about is like how to deal with haters, comments, like all that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah, I think we should, because that's
I
a good
don't want to
one.
give credit to like certain things too much, but
Mhm.
I do want to kind of talk about that because that can be a real downer.
It is, yeah, it
And I
can
mean,
be,
anybody
definitely.
who's posted online has had somebody in their comments not saying nice things. So
Oh
anyway, but
yeah,
that'll be a different
yeah.
episode. Because I'm sure we could talk a whole episode about that
Oh yeah. Well,
and how we deal with it.
do we want to maybe like what are 5 things that you would suggest to make sure every new YouTuber has?
Okay. Uh some kind of editing program and a place that you can do it. So whether you pick your phone, your computer, whatever. So pick pick a platform or like it's not even a platform. Pick a version of where you want to edit stuff. Pick
Yes.
just pick it and stick with it and then learn that system. So whether you're using a laptop, a desktop, you know, or a
Your
phone, iPad
phone.
type thing.
Yep.
So you need to pick that with some kind of editing program. So pick your program, learn it, and then if you don't like it, like give it a real go. Cause I think
Yeah.
it takes a couple of months, I feel like, to like even just learn, especially if you're not doing a lot of videos at the beginning. Um,
Right.
and just get a good routine there. So
Mhm.
you need a good microphone, even if it's just like a
Yes.
lapel one or you have a nice gaming headset. I don't So you need a microphone. That's for sure
Yep.
something. I would definitely say get some kind of compression. Like I'm going to say handbrake is a must. It makes things so
Yeah.
much easier for uploading. Yes, it adds a little bit of extra time, but not really, because if it takes a lot longer to upload to YouTube, then it makes that process like super fast. Like sometimes my videos are like up in no time, and like I'm still doing all the descriptions, all the tags, and all that kind of stuff in there. So okay,
Yep.
where am I? I think I have one more left.
Yeah.
Um,
One more.
and what would be my other one? A good editing, like photo editing system. So
Yeah.
whether you're choosing an app, using it in your like, and along with that is some kind of phone storage, like whether
Hmm.
you pay for extra cloud storage, whether you are like, so you need to have a good system that way. So
Yeah.
whether you're deleting photos and videos as you're coming and going, like figure out a good system for you, photo editing system for you.
Yeah.
So those would
Yeah.
be my facts.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. Along that same vein, make sure you have like a good um, tripod or way to
Oh,
film your videos.
yeah.
So that's
I
kind of
could,
like not on the computer side, like
yeah.
you need some way to, show what
Edit
you're
your
doing.
whatever you're
Yeah.
using to film.
Yeah. And then another thing is like an extra light or
Yeah,
two.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
I
So,
missed,
yeah.
but I was thinking all on the back end of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So,
You
but
covered
so
that part and I just added to it.
yeah. So there's are some stuff. I'll try to make sure that the description is pretty.
Yeah.
um so and so one thing, just a heads up, we do have our blog running,
Yes.
and we're starting to post there. So and this is, I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time, but it's going to be a lot places. Um, our shop is our shop and website were together, our blog. And so I've untangled those. Hannah learned how to do that. Thank you, AI. Because I messed it up and did that. So if you go to the craftymaven.com getaway.com, you're going to hit our blog and our website. And so but this is like the store is only a tiny part of that. So so if you want to go to the shop at shop.thecraftymavengetaway.com. So but if you subscribe on our blog, and for the WordPress blog, like website, then you will get our blog posts. Like when there's special sales and stuff, I'll make sure, because I'm going to stop using Shopify as like, not that I was using it for a blog system, but anyway, so that's just wanted transparency. If you go to the craftymaven.com, it's not that you can't find where you need to go, but it's probably going to be a little bit more like, so all of the links below are going to match what I've just said, but that's just be aware. And we're looking to build up our viewer list on our website, or I should say our email list, just so that we can get all this information when a blog post comes out, when a podcast comes out, when our design team posts something. So then you can go there and just look and see what are they creating. If you're not on other places, I know I share it on other places, but sometimes it's easy to like get lost. And so when you go there, you'll just be able to find their video real quick. So it's just a little housekeeping stuff. So anyway, and don't forget to just learn and have fun when you're doing this process of content creation, because it just takes a little while to like get into the groove. So, but can be super fun. I love it. That's why I came back to it. It's definitely not my favorite part, like doing all the editing and all that stuff. I'd rather be creating.
Right.
But, but it still is fun, and it's just a fun way to connect to other scrapbookers too. So
I agree.
Okay, well, thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for joining me on your vacation. Yeah, your lunch vacation.
I was going to say, I guess
you for
a lunch
joining me
break
during your lunch vacation, and have fun during your work non-vacation.
Yeah, so excited.
Apparently, I need more of coffee vacation.
Yes, you need more sustenance.
I feel like this week has been crazy. I'm ready to like get a scrappy vacation is what I need.
Yeah, me too.
Later tomorrow is probably when that'll be happening. But anyway, thank you for joining us, guys, and have a great scrappy week. Bye.
Bye.